Hello everybody, this is Sarah Parry, psychic medium and artist, and I am coming to you from Spain today. Yes, I am back in Spain. I went to the UK for a very, very short while, well, supposedly for only a week, which was extended to 2 weeks. It was supposed to be a very, very quick trip back, but it seems the universe had other ideas, hence why I am blogging today or vlogging today with you to kind of open up the awareness of how there is something so much bigger out there that we, although we want the control and although we want to have all the say, the universe is so much bigger. So to stop resisting to receive the messages, the guidance and the knowledge that is coming in thick and fast right now. Now, this feels like we are in the time of change, literally, that we have been in countdown for a long while, for at least the last 6 to 7 months, even a few years. This started back, I'm being told right now, 2017 was the time of this launch or preparation for this launch into this new higher vibration. But to be in this vibration or to ascend beautifully and phenomenally, if that is a word, into this wonderful light energy, we need to be stopping our resistance to the change that is coming. Now, moving through this period has been less easy than any of us, far less easy than any of us would have expected over the last few months. Even us light workers, have been kind of, whoa, the changes coming in are just starting to happen really thick and fast. You may realise or be noticing that things are being displaced really quickly right now. That you may have seen, we've seen a lot of people passing, we've seen a lot of change, and yes, the focus or the pinpoint most people would be looking at would be the whole pandemic situation. However, it's been lots of things. It's not just that. That's just a part of it. That's just a trigger of everything else that is going on. That was just put in place to get us to see things differently, to work in a more together way, to start trusting more, and to be in less resistance so that better abundance can flow, so that we can go back to the old ways, the simplicity of life, of where you wake up in the morning and you live, rather than you plan 20 years ahead. If you were living in a time where there was nothing except your little cave and the outside natural world, and you had to go out and get your food, and all it would be about is survival. And actually that is all it is. It's about breathing. It's about us waking up in the morning and breathing life into us and connecting with those that we love or that we are responsible for, is projecting that positive energy and learning and guidance to those that we are responsible for, our dependents. As in, if you don't have any, then it's just you, really, because whatever you do reflects on the world. And I'm kind of saying this because I've been in a few situations recently where I've been put up against very, very angry energy, where there's a lot of fight going on. What's happening is, with everything that's going on, with the new rules put in place, or the guidance, should I say, or options, or choices that are being put in front of us, the resistance to be free, the need to be free, or the need to, walk our own path, has become a resistant one, and it's become angry, and it's become defiant, and that isn't the way to win. But most of us see success after we've had a long fight. So if any of you have been in struggle most of your life, or have been fighting towards success, and your natural thing would be to kind of become defensive, be angry, and think, I've got to fight for my rights. Why have you got to fight for your rights? Why can't you just have rights? You have a right to choose. You have a right to wake up in the morning and decide whether you get out of bed, whether you listen to the alarm clock or not. There's always a choice. And I had this conversation with somebody who I know very well, who I ended up kind of down, I went to visit this man, and he's a local artist, and I wanted to kind of connect, see how he's doing, and it was like time had stood still where he was. He was so angry. He's got so much creative ability. He's got, when I was living in that town, he was leading, not fighting, he was leading people around him and the town into expansion, bringing out new ideas, being inspirational, he created this whole art quarter of the town, which was dead, right? Where I come from, where I lived, not where I necessarily came from, it was what I call a dying town, It was like all the other towns were being given all the finance and everything to rebuild, but it was almost like they wanted this one to fail. And as one shop opened, another one would empty, and it was there was this one area of the town, and I had a shop here where I used to make jewellery, and it was a dead part of the town because nobody came up from there. They'd get off at the bus or the coaches down on the seafront, or they'd go to the seafront. So in the summer it was quite dead because they wouldn't be walking past stuff, so you weren't in the right place. And to walk up there, they wouldn't think there was anything up there, so they just had to be just having an explore to discover you. So it's very hit and miss, and it wasn't easy to kind of to make a good living. And it was a struggle for a few years, and things changed and I gave it up. But this area particularly has been kind of hit and miss for a lot. Things have just emptied, and then it kind of got busy because there was a post office opened up, and then the post office closed, and it just changed. So this guy opened this gallery, and it was very innovative, and he started inviting artists to come in. He started doing classes, and I took some classes, and it was a place you could be. You could just turn up and you could just paint and you could draw, and I used to drop in there a lot and have a coffee, and to be honest, I was not necessarily inspired by him, but it helped. He was very, very enthusiastic about what he did. He was very supportive, and I used to bring a lot of ideas in. Now I noticed that, he's not maybe the type of person that has that natural get up and go that I have. Maybe, he's done a lot, he was already a working artist. So, he was sufficient. He's got a family to feed, and he was dealing with a lot of stuff there. So, obviously not maybe as kind of driven that I was. But he was expansive in other ways, and he helped a lot of people, and he got on the council, and he was doing, lots of things. But then there was already a bit of an argument going on there. He was already kind of fighting and starting to kind of, because where I come from, there was a lot of closed energy, which was one of the reasons why I left, because it's on the ley lines, and there's this kind of, you're either on the dark or the light, you're constantly faced with this imbalance and working with the balance of energies. Anyway, I left there. I went back to visit a couple of times, but then I've been away for a long time because of the pandemic. And I went back, and it's just like his little area has just stopped. I walked in, it was the same paintings on the wall that he was selling when I left. When I last visited, which was a couple of years ago, there was only a couple of other artists involved, a few cards he's got out. He was sat there, his hair was all kind of floppy, and which maybe just because he just let it grow, which is fine, but he didn't even have any shoes on. He sat in there in his socks. He just didn't look, he didn't even get up. He kind of just didn't look excited. I mean, he was excited to see me, but it was just, there was nothing. And anyway, it was fine. We went in and I chatted away as I do, and then I went back in just before I left, and suddenly we got into this conversation of going into schools and having tests and all this kind of stuff going on. And he just got he was getting so angry. And my feeling is that we do as we do, right? You have a choice, right? You want to have a vaccination, you want to not have a vaccination, I couldn't give a monkeys, it's up to you really. And you can like ridicule me on here, fine if you want to troll me. Actually, don't troll me because it's just boring. Again, that would just be a fight, wouldn't it? That would just be like, let's write something awful just because we can. I'm not judging anyone for what you do. And vice versa, don't judge me for what I do, because when I got there and I was kind of held, I was held in the UK, and I had to change my flights and everything. It was because I got a positive test back, right? And it was just nuts. It was just such a shock. It was like, what? Because I had no symptoms, and I haven't since then. None of my family tested positive. I was literally sitting in my mum's energy the whole time, getting, sit and have a cup of tea in the morning. We were always in close vicinity. And she actually was suffering with a bad leg as well. Her immune system was down. So, God, if anyone was going to catch it, it would have been her. So I really feel like I trust truly this came from the universe to keep me there, because I needed to deal with some old stuff and release. And yeah, I went back into my whole childhood thing, abandonment stuff, so I can move on to the next stage. But anyway, going back to this guy, it was like, whoa, it probably put in front of him as well. It's like, how do you deal with this? And I just saw, so, I said to him, he said, I've got no choice. And I said, but you have got a choice. You can have a choice to choose if you want. And he kind of started laughing, but I said, he said, well, you've got to fight. You've got to fight. I said, no, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight anything if you don't want to. I said, I understand you want to stand up for your family. You want to do what's right for them. That's okay. But you don't have to fight. You can let it happen. You can receive. You can manifest. You can allow the energy to change by being positive, by celebrating, by in a light thing. This is what I feel, that, there's always been this dark and this light energy, right? And we're always fighting it. Well, we've always been, I'll just use the word fight again. But, we're always kind of working forwards and, having to rebalance because, that's what creates balance. You can't just have it all one way or the other, right? So it's about working with it. And I said to him, I do what I do, and I work on a spiritual level, and I see things coming, and, I said, and none of this is scaring me. I just ask to be guided what I do next. Because actually that's easier than resisting what's coming, because, my life, my mission is my mission, right? Yours is your mission. You do what you do. And I get up in the morning and my first thought is, what is going to make me happy? What is going to be joyful today? What can I do that's going to feel great? What am I doing in my life that's going to be fulfilling? Now, yes, I don't have kids and I don't have that kind of stuff going on, and maybe I would think differently. I don't know. But right now, this is how I feel. And this is what I'm kind of saying to everybody. You do as you do. But you don't have to keep forcing it. And this is not just about whether you believe in vaccinations. My point is life in general. If something is easy, it's easy. If something is flowing, it's easy. It doesn't have to be complicated. We don't have to dig deep all the time to try and discover why this is happening. What's going on with the government, and, who's going to be following me around and spying on me with some chip in my shoulder. I mean, come on. We've got mobile phones. You don't need a chip in your arm to show you that. It's like, if you really believe in all that stuff, throw your phone away and get off social media, because that is what's saying. There's spyware everywhere, right? It's logical. If you're gonna fight for joy, create joy, but do it in celebration. And I said to him, it's okay to want, to really believe in something. Great, good on you. I said, but do it with a smile on your face. I said, because you will get such a better reaction that way. Everything will work so much more in your favor when you've got a light energy. And as I left, I said to him, you know what? You really brightened my day, Rich. And he just kind of looked at me because he probably thought, oh my God, she's going to start arguing with me. And he just went, you know what? He said, you do the same. And then he gave me a book, which I found really odd, called The Optimist, which was kind of weird. Anyway, so you could read that on the plane. I thought, okay, because who's being the optimist here? Me. Obviously, he hadn't read it. I don't know. But for his point, he, and this is not, judging him. He's upset because he doesn't want to be told what to do. I get that. He doesn't want to be forced. But then he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do that. there is another way. And this is what I'm saying to you. There's always another way. There's always another perspective. If you can kind of step back and detach and look from the other perspective. You know, when I got my result through, I was so shocked. I just freaked out. I was like, what? What on earth is all this about? You know, the one thing I didn't want to do was travel and pass it on, you know, catch something, pass it on to my family, because my main issue is that I wouldn't want to be responsible for that. So I safeguard for me, but also for those that I, you know, think being generous to those around me. I don't want to see them suffer, you know. And okay, maybe there is nothing, you know, let's not go there, but you know, there is something. You know, there was something going on. Anyway, without getting into that big battle, what I'm saying is that, you know, I kind of sat there in shock, freaked out, had a bit of a meltdown, as you do, because I just didn't know what to do. I mean, at that point I was like, haven't got my husband with me, no one knows what's going on, no one knows the rules, I don't know who to call. I just didn't know what to do at that point. And so I had my meltdown, let myself release, and then I thought, okay, let's get productive. So first of all, looked at changes of flights, looked at this, you know, and I just kind of worked through it methodically. And then I relaxed, because what I realised is that I'd been wishing for a long time for a holiday. I wanted a rest, and I got one, because if I'd come back, I would have worked. And don't get me wrong, I did do some work there, because, you know, I kind of had to keep up to date with stuff. But for a week, I relaxed. I painted for me. I wasn't doing anything for anyone else. I was able to kind of engage with my family. I was able to reconnect, heal, you know, that kind of thing. And it was great to just suddenly offload and just go, do you know what, I don't have to do anything, because the universe took it out of my hands. So kind of whatever happens from now on, look at it as a celebration. Look at it as something to be grateful for, to be happy about. Ask yourself, what have you been wishing for? What have you been asking for most? And how has that come about? There are so many things coming in, so many new opportunities, and the energy is so fast. Just accept. Know that it's for a higher reason. Start training yourself to react in positive ways. Although, you know, sometimes we just have to, you know, let go, which is what I did. I obviously had stuff. I was very overwhelmed traveling over here. It was like being let out. I was actually really freaked out, you know. Now I've done it. Now I know how it works, and I can help you all. So if you've got any questions on that, do let me know. But there is... all I just feel is that there is too much, you know, the whole point of this whole exercise has been to connect, right? To reconnect on a higher level, in a way that's effective, that is progressive, not degressive, if that's a word, or digressive. I don't know, you can put me right. But this is about expanding in the best way possible. It's about letting all that stuff go that is just not necessary. And if you're in a place right now where you're feeling, you know, frightened, or you're having to deal with a lot of past change and things, just acknowledge it. Ask yourself, why is this happening? Why does this keep happening? And do something about it. You know, if you, again, look at the struggles in your life and you say, I've always had to fight for what I want, but how did you feel when you won? Because that can be the addiction in itself. The addiction of winning, overcoming struggle. And that's where the pattern starts. That's where you condition yourself. You feel that every time to attain a win, you have to struggle for it, but actually you don't. So, because abundance is about receiving. It's not about being selfish as such to others. It's about giving to yourself. Look at it as taking back the energy and saying, this is about me and my life. What I do now is going to project to the world, right? You may not be able to fight against or break the red tape on your own, or, you know, at this point, it's like you don't know where to go with it, because it's so strong and in place. So send it light. Send it healing, send forgiveness, send something to all the people around. Melt the heart of the red tape. Melt the hearts of all the anger. Because in kind of rushing around trying to get your army together and get everyone on board, it's no different than like, it's similar to a religious cult. You know, it's like, come on, you've got to believe, you've got to do this thing. You're forcing, in wanting your own rights and wanting to have your own say, you're actually doing exactly what you don't want, because it's kind of projecting it onto people that maybe aren't ready. Except maybe they don't want to. It's okay. Because we have no control of how this is going to come out. And sometimes the thing that you think you're being guided to do, or the message, you know, it's not to fight at all. That's the whole point. Because that's all we've done. Our whole, you know, we fought to vote. We fought to be free, whatever. Just take a look at what's happening in Afghanistan right now. That's all I'm going to say. When you think your life is falling to bits, just think about that. That is your freedom being taken. That is when you feel powerless. Consider that. That's all I'm saying. And then start living what you have in joy, in happiness, in fulfillment, in freedom of your soul. And do that mission, because it can be done in a beautifully decorative way and a beautifully light way that just connects joy and joy and joy and joy. And the more that happens, the more happiness happens. And then suddenly all these people that are fighting in the world, all these people, you know, are bombing and doing whatever they're doing, it's all angry. They're fighting for their rights too. Do you see what I mean? Or they're just following something. You don't want to be the person that influences somebody in a way that they don't want to be influenced. Give them the choice, like you want the choice. Let go of the judgment. Let go of the justifications. Protect in the way you can, but do it in an effective and a fun way, a happy way. Okay, yeah, I'm not asking you to kind of do a musical song, but you get my meaning. You know, it's look at it from a lighter perspective. Rise above it. That's what this new energy is about. It's not about making things difficult. It's about making things easier. And ask yourself, how would life be easier if I didn't have to keep writing those emails to the council or having to get legal? You know, okay, there are times that, you know, you've got to stand up for yourselves. I'm not saying don't stand up for yourselves. I'm just saying is ask yourself why. What's the outcome? And is there another way? You know, when you look on Google Maps, there's always an easier route, right? So look at your own Google map of your territory and think, where's my destination? And what would make it the best journey and the trip, you know? Although it might mean driving 12 hours at night, and it's, you know, could be a long traffic jam. What could I put on the radio to listen to? Or, you know, what could I do, you know, as I'm driving along? What could I consider or mull over, you know? How can I make this a fun experience? That's all I'm saying to you guys from now, is just stop having a tug of war with yourselves, because actually that's what's going on. There isn't anyone to fight, really, just you. So I'm going to leave it there. If you like a private reading, then do come to me. If you'd like some guidance, and you know, my website is there, www.sarahperrypsychic.com.co.uk, whatever you like. Check out my artwork. I'm doing a lot of soul commissions right now, a lot of wall murals, that kind of thing, that can connect with you, healing art, where I kind of connect with your highest soul level and what you need. If you're looking to do workshops, courses as well, it's all on the website. And I am rebuilding my art website at the moment, doing a lot with that, so that will be launched very soon. But have a wonderful week, and I will be in contact soon. Bye for now.